Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scientist That's a great start, isn't it? My words aren't ready. Welcome to the Scientist Reverse Grid Racing League, the Darwin tier. It's the final 2 rounds of the championship tonight. We're going to Vietnam and Australia to round out the season. 13 drivers currently in the lobby. I'm not sure how many we're expecting. Hopefully a few more. But we are coming towards the end of this championship. This is the last week. Championship started off in Belgium 11 weeks ago. Belgium and Japan was the first 2 races on the schedule. And now we round things off in Asia first off with Vietnam, and then of course over to Oceania and the Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park in Melbourne. In terms of the championship, in the driver's side, Beerus has that sewn up with a lead of 103 points over Royal Harvey, who is in second ahead of the Slayer in third. There's quite a close battle still between the Slayer and J Sarge for third place in the standings, although I'm not sure if either of them are here. Oh, the Slayer is here. I don't think J Sarge is here, so advantage to the Slayer in that regard. There is still some intrigue on the Constructors standing championship side. It's a 3-way battle between Williams, Racing Point and Haas. Williams will have 432 points in first place, and then it's Racing Point with 414 and Haas have 390, so it's still all to play for in that championship. And also Mercedes and Renault tied on 317 points in the battle for 4th in the championship. So yeah, on the Constructors side there is still quite a bit to be determined tonight. Drivers are starting to ready up, so we should be underway very shortly. Just while we're waiting as well, we can have a look at the provisional grid for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. So it will be Mum Ram starting on pole, from Royal Harvey in second place, Jim Rainium and J Sarge on the second row, although again J Sarge I don't think is here, unfortunately. D Bizzle and the Slayer on the third row, and then the Scientist and Aces versus Kings, 7th and 8th. 9th is Beerus, 10th Infamous, Ballux in 11th place, Ryan in 12th, Lando in 13th, GMAC in 14th, and Firecop down in 15th place, which is a new name to me. He's in the Renault along with Infamous, as we can see there. So we are now moments away from kicking off the Vietnamese Grand Prix at Hanoi, a circuit which has never hosted a real Formula 1 race, and it looks likely that it may never actually host a race. It was on the calendar for 2020, but then obviously we know what happened to prevent that, and then it's no longer on the Formula 1 calendar. So I wonder how many Formula 1 games over the years have featured tracks that have never even hosted a Formula 1 race. On the other hand, of course, Albert Park in Melbourne has been on the Formula 1 calendar since 1996. And I think that 2020 was the first time since its first race that Formula 1 did not go to Albert Park. And this year it will be, well, it's scheduled for the end of the season, so hopefully we get to go back to there. It is a track that I am a fan of personally. Not so much of a popular choice with the drivers though, in terms of this current track, Hanoi. A very narrow street circuit. The barriers are always inviting you towards them and encouraging wing damage or losing a wheel. Safety cars, definitely a high probability around here, but good overtaking opportunities as well. This has got the long back straight, which is a DRS straight as well, so hopefully as we come to the end of the season we'll see some good racing, as we see the field pulling away on the formation lap. 14 car grid and a mixture of tyre selections. Mumram, Scientist, Beerus and Lando have gone for the softs, and then everyone else has gone for the mediums except for Infamous and Jim Rainium. So Jim Rainium and Infamous possibly banking on there not being an early safety car, because if there is a safety car on lap 1 or 2 then the hard tyres might be the best choice to get you to the end of the race without having to pit again. But we'll have to see on that one. You can see now Mumram leading the train along this long straight before the very tight hairpin at the end. Just about 30 miles an hour through there, I think, and start to come back towards the pit complex, and then the third sector, which has similar sort of features to a few tracks I can think of. Certainly the Japanese track Suzuka, the S section in turn 1, also at the Circuit of the Americas that has quite a famous S section as well, and probably a couple of other tracks that I can't quite think of at the moment. But you can just see from the camera angle how narrow it is through here and how claustrophobic it feels. And they're only going at, you know, 60 miles an hour at the moment. Imagine if in a moment when we're going at full racing speed. A couple of drivers have been disqualified from the formation lap, but they will be able to start the race in their grid spots. They'll just already be on the grid, as we can see the Slayer and Royal Harvey, their cars are there. And now Mumram is taking his pole position for the 21st round of this championship, and the first round tonight at Hanoi, as we see the lights coming on now for the start of the Vietnamese Grand Prix. And the lights are out and we are underway for the final 2 rounds of the Darwin League in the Scientist Reverse Grid Racing League. And Mumram leads away from pole, and who was that coming up the inside? The AlphaTauri of D Bizzle. Mumram has gone wide at the first corner. There's a bit of ghosting going on at the moment, and quite a few cars going wide and off track, and then there was contact between the Ferrari and the Williams, and that's the Slayer who's been dropped down the order. Royal Harvey holding on to, I think, third place. Beerus has had a great start, he's up to second. And now Royal Harvey gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting and gaining a position. Someone had wing damage there. I think it might be D Bizzle. Actually no, I think his... is it D Bizzle? Hard to say at the moment. But they're coming through the DRS straight, the second DRS straight of the track for the first time. Scientists on the back of D Bizzle on the soft tyres and looking to go down the inside into the hairpin. And the Renault of Infamous having a look as well, but unable to make that move. Scientists up into fourth place. Munram leading from Beerus and Harvey. And now Aces and Gymranium having a bit of a squabble here. Aces ran wide. And now through the S section, can he make this move work? Yes he can. Gymranium backs off. And Aces moves up into 7th position. And Beerus has overtaken Munram for the lead. So Beerus making light work of this so far. Royal Harvey also going past Munram for second as they come down to turn 1. He does have that 5-second penalty that he will serve when he makes a pit stop, and he's losing the back of the car, but manages to keep it pointing in the right direction, and he will be off in pursuit. Oh, there's a yellow flag. That's a Red Bull, and the timing board is just ridiculous. I can't even get to Aces, but there he is, getting back on track. 4 pit stops. The Slayer, Landobot, GMAC and Gymranium, both Ferraris. Oh no, wait, not both Ferraris, because Lando is in the Alfa Romeo. And we've got a virtual safety car. Not sure if that was for Aces having a spin. Doesn't seem to have been anything else that's happened. We've still got all 14 drivers in the race. It is just a virtual safety car. I was thinking I couldn't see the safety car on the track map. For some reason I haven't got a visual saying that it is the virtual safety car. I could just tell from the track map being yellow. And now we go back to green, and I think Beerus has just got a penalty. Ryan has retired in the S section, and he's too far away from anyone for me to see exactly what has happened to him. But I think Beerus there will have got a drive-through penalty, and he does. He's the only man in the field to get one from that virtual safety car. So a bit of a mistake from the champion. That's going to drop him down the order. He can't serve his drive-through at the same time as a pit stop, so he will have to pit twice. Firecop is into the pits and onto the hard tyres. So he'll be looking to go to the end from there, as will GMAC, who's also on the hards. I don't know if Landobot will be able to get to the end on the mediums. Slayer will definitely have to make another pit stop from those soft tyres. This is the battle for 4th place. Munram has been falling back since he put it on pole. And here comes D Bizzle with DRS assistance. And Munram coming back up the inside of the hairpin and pushing both cars off track. And Infamous losing the back end coming out of the hairpin. And now D Bizzle trying again down the inside, pushing Munram slightly and almost losing the back end himself. And for now, there is no change to the positions. But D Bizzle looking quicker at the moment, and Infamous is right in this battle as well, and actually has hit the back of D Bizzle, spun him round, and Infamous has got wing damage, so that was poor driving. and Munram is off the hook for the time being. And looking further ahead, Scientists on those soft tyres looking quicker than Royal Harvey at the present moment. And with the Slayer all the way down in 12th position, it's vitally important for the Scientists to do a job here in the Constructors, as Royal Harvey goes wide and loses that place. Although he will now get DRS. I don't know if that was a strategic move by Royal Harvey to get DRS on this straight, and that's going to easily give him the position back. Scientist used his ERS to try and hold on, but the DRS just too powerful down there. Royal Harvey locks up but stays in second place, and Scientist is going to have to do the work again and maybe think about a different strategy perhaps, as Harvey taps the wall. He's struggling to make those medium tyres work at the moment. And Beerus into the pits, presumably for his drive-through, and Harvey also into the pit lane. It's a slow speed limit at this track in the pits, 37 miles an hour, so that's going to make Beerus's drive-through even more painful. Although so far he's only lost one position, the rest of the field is quite a long way back. Harvey is pitting and actually changing tyres. Beerus now starting to be overtaken, and Harvey serves his 5-second penalty and gets a wing change as well as fresh soft tyres. Beerus is back out in second place, so he has only lost one position as a result of that drive through, and he can now focus on the Scientists, who leads by 8 seconds here on lap 5 in the Vietnamese Grand Prix. This is the battle of the hard tyre runners at the moment. Firecop and GMAC in 10th and 11th. GMAC is about to get DRS on the Renault driver in front of him. They're both pretty low on ERS, so that will actually work in GMAC's favour, although he's not as close as I thought he was, so he can't make that move. Firecop running a bit wide into the hairpin, but the wide line is actually quite good to defend with in that situation, because it allows you to almost block the other driver from using all of the track and getting a good enough exit. But here now we have the battle for third place on track. It's Munram, Ballux, D-Bizzle and Aces, all running very close together, and Munram went wide again out of the exit of turn 1. And he's going to lose at least a couple of places. D-Bizzle has been hit round for the second time, this time by Munram, and he is not going to be a happy driver in this race. He's got pretty bad wing damage from that, and that's given Ballux and Aces a break. Ballux up into third and Aces in fourth, and Munram not having a great time on the streets of Hanoi. But that's really bad luck for D-Bizzle, who's been spun around twice already in this race. Possibly even a third time. I think at the start he had some issues as well, so it's very unfortunate for him. And that's really bad wing damage. He will have to make a pit stop now. And Aces has caught right back up to Ballux. Scientist into the pits from the lead. He's done 5 laps on those soft tyres, and look at the difference in pace between Ballux and Aces. Aces almost pushing Ballux through that turn, and Ballux into the pits, so he's had enough of those mediums. top three all in the pits, in fact. Beerus as well. And is this onto the mediums? Yep. Medium tyres for Beerus and for Scientist. Alex, on the other hand, switching from mediums to softs, but also having a wing change. And it will be a wing change for D Bizzle. Soft tyres for him. And Balak's coming to the end of the pit lane in 10th place with D Bizzle behind him. Landobot and GMAC are pitting again, so not a great afternoon for those guys. And look at this, Harvey has pitted and come out ahead of Beerus, and he's got fresh soft tyres, so he might have a pace advantage over the Racing Point, but DRS is going to help Beerus down to the hairpin. Harvey going defensive, but the speed difference is very high, and wheel banging into the hairpin there. Beerus forced out wide, and Harvey holds on to third place. Looked to me that it was more just a case of they both were braking too late for the hairpin rather than the contact really forcing each other wide. Beerus maybe will feel differently about that incident, and it's going to be difficult for him to keep pace with Harvey in this situation. Harvey on relatively fresh softs. They might be struggling for grip in the later laps though. That's not going to be a problem for Beerus, and it also won't be a problem for Scientist, who's sitting in second place at the moment, but Aces is going to have to make a pit stop, and that'll drop him back down the order. The Slayer has made his way up to 5th position after pitting on the first lap or the second lap or somewhere around there. I don't know if those soft tyres will make it another 6 laps. He's got the 2 Renault boys in pursuit behind him, both on more durable tyres. Slayer also has a penalty. I think it's a 5 seconds penalty. Yes, and Jim Rainium so far with the only corner cutting penalty, 3 seconds. Although actually Mumram, those might be corner cutting as well. Hard to say, but he's got 15 seconds. And Ace is now into the pits. He was at the front, but he's obviously going to fall back now. And that's allowed Scientists to retake the lead on lap 9. And Harvey and Beerus there in the background in 2nd and 3rd. Ace is falling down a few spots as you would expect. Balak's coming down the pit straight, we can see on the left hand side, but Aces may be able to re-overtake him here because you get a lot of momentum coming back onto the track from the pit lane, and Aces has slotted himself back into 7th place, 1.5 seconds behind the 2 Renaults who are chasing the Slayer, who's dropping back from Beerus in 3rd place. And this is a good shot, we can see all of those cars that I just mentioned. And all of these cars actually just outside of DRS range of each other. You feel that if, for example, Infamous can just close in by a couple of tenths on Firecop, that would then make a huge difference on that straight. And in fact, Aces has brought himself to within a second of Infamous, so the man behind the Renault has got himself up, and he'll just have to try and hold it through the S section, and in fact he's closing in even more. Infamous struggling a bit in the S's, it seems. Aces will of course be quicker on those fresh soft tyres as well. He's going to have DRS down the pit straight. He may even be able to make a move already, and Infamous will try and hold it round the outside, and they're running side by side through this section, and Aces has left the room on the outside, and there is Firecop into the wall, so he's going to lose 2 spots to Aces and Infamous. Aces up into 5th, so he's gained 2 positions, and Firecop with DRS as a result of that, but he stays behind his teammate. And also look up at the front, Royal Harvey's completely out of ERS. He did have DRS, which was enough to get him alongside, and now with the cutback, can he take the lead of the race away from Scientist? Around the outside, into the next corner we go. Scientist is able to hold it on the inside, a little bit of contact there, and Harvey goes right around the outside to take the lead of the race with 4 laps remaining. And Scientist actually has wing damage. He's missing an end plate on the front right, so Harvey now will surely pull away and be in the clear. It's now a question of whether or not Beerus can get ahead of the Williams driver quickly and chase after the man who for so long this season was his championship rival, Royal Harvey. There was a little bit of wheel banging there through turn 1, but Harvey has got through. Beerus, sorry, not Harvey. Harvey had already made the move earlier. So those two can carry on their battle at the front, as has been the common theme of the season. Aces now closing in on the Slayer, who's done 8 laps on those softs. It's going to be difficult for him to get to the end, but he's doing his best. But I would think he is about to be overtaken for 4th by a driver on much fresher soft tyres. Aces with DRS, and unless there's some very late braking from the Slayer into the hairpin, which there isn't, Aces moves up into P4, and with the wing damage that Scientist has, if he doesn't pit, Aces might be able to get himself up onto the podium before this race is done. And look up at the front, Beerus has closed the gap to Royal Harvey on this lap. Lap 12 now out of 14, so 3 to go, and it's a shootout between Harvey and Beerus. Harvey going defensive into turn 1, and they're wheel to wheel coming through this part of the track, and Harvey's gone in deep, and Beerus now will get DRS, and he is so close to the gearbox of the Haas driver, although Harvey actually has DRS, so that will help him out for the time being. Although the next straight now that they come up to is surely going to give Beerus the opportunity he needs to take the lead. Harvey pulling out a bit of a gap using some of his ERS. Beerus now with his rear wing open and choosing not to use his overtake button at the moment, but he is closing in. Nevertheless, it's such a long run down to this braking zone. He's going for it around the outside. There's plenty of wheel banging going on once again. Harvey has held on for the time being, but there's still 2 laps to go. Opportunities for Beerus to make that move. And now Infamous and Ballock's going side by side. Oh, and Ballock, sorry, into the wall on the exit from that corner, losing the traction in the rear tyres, and That's going to cost him a lot of time. And he's going to have D Bizzle catching up to him very quickly through this next section. And Balak's wisely choosing to move out of the way. But here we go once again. Round 2 of Royal Harvey versus Beerus. Beerus now will get DRS. He saved up a bit of his ERS as well. And is he going to go for it? I think he's going to hold off and wait till the next straight to make that move, which is the smart way to go, because that straight gives you a much better opportunity to make an overtaking maneuver. And now he's using ERS. Harvey is using his ERS to defend, but he does not have a lot to use. And here we go. Oh, and Harvey almost making Beerus go up towards the wall. But Beerus takes the lead on the penultimate lap of the race. Can he now drive away and secure yet another victory in this season and help out Racing Point in the championship? Ryan, his teammate, has DNF'd. And it could actually be Williams who come out of this pretty well on the constructors' side, because Scientist is on course for 3rd place. Slayer is 5th, but he does have a 5-second penalty, and his lead over Infamous is just about over 5 seconds. He's also on very old soft tyres at this point, and actually Infamous has got underneath 5 seconds, so Slayer might lose a position once the checkered flag is waved. What about this battle for the lead though? Has Harvey got anything left to come back with? He could have done with preserving a bit more ERS on that lap, but he's less than half a second away. Beerus now uses his overtake button to defend, and that's given him a bit more breathing space. Harvey is not close enough, and he doesn't have any ERS left, so this should now be the finishing positions between these two. Harvey locking up majorly into the hairpin and then almost losing it on the exit as well, so his tyres are struggling. And look at this now, Scientist could be about to lose his podium on the final lap. Aces is going for it around the outside, and this is really the last overtaking opportunity that you get. Aces right off track, and they're going side by side into the S section, and there was wheel banging which put Scientist off a bit. I think Aces up into 3rd, so the Williams boys are going to lose a couple of positions, but Beerus wins the Vietnamese Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the championship. Harvey in 2nd place, and it will be Aces on that 3rd step of the podium. Scientist finishing just behind him. Slayer finishing 5th on track, but he will lose that when Infamous crosses the line and takes 5th place. He also loses 6th to D Bizzle, so that penalty really costing Slayer at the end. Balax has got Gymranium all over the back of him coming out of the final turn, but he just holds on to 8th place over the line. GMAC will be 10th, and then it will be a long wait for Munram and Lando Bot at the back for them to cross the line. But Beerus wins again. The champion just asserting his dominance. Showing his pace and his overtaking ability in that race, and the ability to defend it at the end as well. Good ERS usage. And no wing damage. He did get the drive-through, of course. It probably would have been an even more comfortable victory without that drive-through penalty, which he picked up just after the virtual safety car. But no matter, It's another victory. And good points for Racing Point as well in the championship as a result. I'll have to do some quick calculations to see what that does to the constructors' standings. It's worth mentioning as well that the top 15 drivers in this league get points rather than 10, so after the victory I'm not actually sure what the point allocation is for lower positions. Oh, here we go. Just waiting for the lobby to fix itself and we don't get to see the final positions. Thank you, Codemasters, for that one. So we'll just have to look at it in the main menu, see the points and extrapolate from there who gets how many. So Beerus gets 25 for Racing Point. No surprise there. His teammate DNF'd, so I don't think he gets any points for that. So 25 points for Racing Point. For Haas, Harvey got second and the fastest lap. Actually, Beerus got driver of the day, so he'll get an extra point for that. So that's 26 for Racing Point. Was it just the one Haas car? Yep, just Royal Harvey. So he will have 21 points. And therefore Haas will have 21 points. Williams, Scientist, was 4th, so that's 15. Slayer was 7th, which is 9, so 24 points for Williams. So actually very close spread between those three. 26 for Racing Point, 21 for Haas, and 24 for Williams. So as a result of that, the lead for Williams has come down by 2 points. It's a 16-point differential between Williams and Racing Point going into the final round of the season. Haas will have dropped back a little bit further. And Williams definitely at an advantage with their drivers capable of consistently finishing in at the upper end of the points. Beerus obviously has done a great job for Racing Point. Brian, his teammate, will need to get a good result in this race if Racing Point are to have any chance in the constructors. And I think due to the fact that Harvey is racing on his own for Haas tonight, that's pretty much taken Haas out of the picture for the constructors. But what about Mercedes and Renault? They were tied in in fourth place, and Renault had Infamous finishing in 5th, Firecop DNF'd, and are there no Mercedes drivers here? Nope, no Mercedes drivers, so that answers that question fairly conclusively. Okay, while the grid is getting sorted out for the final race of the season at Australia, I'm just going to take a very quick break. Okay, so we're ready for the final race of the season in the Darwin League. It's the Australian Grand Prix from Albert Park, Melbourne. Another street circuit. Overtaking around here can be tricky, but there are 3 DRS straights to help out with that. And it's a track which is often quite tricky for corner cutting and, again, incidents with the proximity of the walls and just the nature of this track. It is quite a challenge for the drivers. And clear blue skies over the Albert Park circuit for the final race of the season. Still some intrigue on the Constructors' Championship side. Racing Point and Williams separated by 16 points coming into the final round. If Beerus can win the race and Ryan can back him up, then it could be Racing Point taking the Constructors. But for Williams, the Scientist and Slayer, they are in the pound seat to take the Constructors title if they can just have a clean race and get some decent points. So that will be intriguing to watch. 15 laps to come at the Albert Park circuit. And I think it's going to be Landobot on pole with Munram alongside him. Firecop and Ryan will be at the back for the start because they DNF'd from the first race. So looking at the starting grid, it's not looking great for Racing Point. They're 12th and 14th, but we know about Beerus' ability to come through the field, especially with the knowledge that there are slower drivers ahead towards the front. And it's actually Munram on pole from Landobot rather than the other way around. So Munram on pole again. And let's see, once again for the final time, the tyre strategies. Softs all round except for GMAC, Scientist, Aces and Ryan, who are going for the mediums. And I've just realised actually we did not see a full safety car in Vietnam, which is interesting. We did have the one VSC, of course. Safety cars have been quite common over the years at Albert Park as well, so still a chance for 1 or 2 more perhaps before the season is done. But 15 more laps, the final 15 laps of the season, lying ahead of these 14 drivers. Has been a bit of a shame in recent races to see the attendance coming down a little bit for the races. We did start off with full grids. I think the last few weeks that attendance has dropped slightly, but we still have 14, and it's still plenty enough to have some decent racing. So now as Munram comes around the final corner on the formation lap, cars will line up on the grid, and we will shortly be underway for the final time in this season. So here we go for the final time Round 22, the 5 red lights are on in Australia. And it's underway now. And it looked like a decent start up at the front from Mumram. Landobot in second place with the Red Bull of GMAC alongside him. And there's a yellow flag at the back because D Bizzle has had another incident. He is off. Not a good day for him at the office. And look at the McLaren of Ballux hitting the back of somebody, and then that's Beerus off track in the Racing Point. So not a good start for him. And up at the front it's Mumram leading from Landobot. GMAC in third, Jimranium in fourth, Royal Harvey up to fifth, although Infamous alongside him and backed out of that one late on. And now he's got the Slayer making a move down the inside before the fast chicane that's coming next. And I think the Slayer cut the corner on the inside a little bit, but he is up into sixth place. Scientist now looking at the Renault as well and possibly overtaking his teammate into the next corner as well. They're so close to contact, but Scientist takes seventh, and the two Renault boys right behind as well getting involved. And late braking from Firecop, he's lost out there. There's a yellow flag which is cleared, so back to green flag racing. Mumram leading on the first lap, but now Landobot in the Alfa Romeo is going for a move down the inside into turn 3 and takes the lead of the race away from the McLaren. Harvey up into fourth now in the Haas, so he's going for a Grand Slam finish in this championship. And some pit stops at the back. Ballux, Ryan and Slayer. Slayer and Ballux have gone for the mediums. Ryan has gone for the hard tyres on lap 2 out of 15, so they'll hope they can get to the end from here. Beerus has made up some spots after his problems on the first lap. He's up into 9th now, and he's got Firecop half a second in front of him. And now Firecop looking to get back in front of Scientist, going around the outside, and Scientist broke early into that corner, which gave Firecop the position. Beerus is now right on the back of Scientist as well and looking to go down the inside, but Scientist defending a bit more aggressively on that occasion. Harvey setting the fastest lap of the race. He's now up into third, so he's storming his way through the field, and Beerus now will have another go on the Scientist. They're both using a lot of their ERS, and Beerus going late down the inside, and there was a lot of contact and almost a spin for Beerus, but good reactions to keep facing in the right direction. And he might have another go into this next turn, although he pulled back up behind Scientist and has got wing damage from hitting the back of him. So things not looking great here for Racing Point. They're not looking so great for Williams either. They're 8th and 11th. Although Slayer did, of course, make that pit stop after the first lap. Infamous overtaking Jimranium for 5th place. And further back we see once again Beerus and Scientist. Beerus breaking way too late into that corner after the DRS. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him making a pit stop now as Harvey sets another fastest lap. Infamous out. Infamous out of the race, and we got a virtual safety car and a few cars pitting at the perfect moment. Beerus, Scientist and Aces in for their pit stops, and this is going to hurt the Slayer, and actually D Bizzle, Ballux and Ryan as well, who made their pit stops already, but they are having to follow a delta whilst the cars in front are pitting. Don't know what happened to Infamous, but he is out. And Slayer has got in front of Beerus, despite the VSC. So not such a bad result in the end for Williams. Ryan is way down the order. Actually not as far back as I thought before. He's a few seconds behind Ballux in 12th. And we're back to green flag racing as we now move up towards the front of the field, and Harvey has been making his way steadily up the order. Second place at the moment. Lando Bot leading the race after overtaking Munram on lap 2. GMAC has DRS on the McLaren, and he pulls out to the right hand side to move up into third place. Further back we've got Slayer and Beerus 7th and 8th, and further back from them Scientist and Ace is going wheel to wheel as well, both on fresh soft tyres. Scientist now with DRS. Ace is defending. Can Scientist get around the outside into turn 1? It's very close, but yes, he's pulled it off, and he gets another dose of DRS as well. Beerus not close enough at the moment to get ahead of Slayer. But that was a good move from Scientist to move up. And with things the way they are, Williams on course for the Constructors' Championship, as Firecop overtakes Gymranium for P5, but runs a bit wide on the exit, but Gymranium can't come back. So Firecop up into 5th place and trying to make up for his teammates DNF. Yellow flag in sector 2, but doesn't look like there's anything wrong, although Aces has dropped back to a couple of seconds from Scientist, and now Beerus again on the tail of the Slayer, and that was really close at the end of the DRS. Slayer defending with all his worth at the moment to keep Beerus behind him. Beerus even looking up the inside of the final corner, which would have been a very unusual overtaking spot. Beerus isn't really using his ERS, so maybe a bit of a strategy decision to force Slayer to use his ERS whilst defending from Beerus with DRS. Firecop now is about to overtake Munram for 4th place. On the inside he goes, and the top 6 yet to make their pit stop. I think everyone behind them has. And now, as I say that, Royal Harvey is coming in from 2nd. The gap between him and Landobot was remaining fairly constant after that virtual safety car. Beerus still behind Slayer. And the fact that he's not using his ERS, he doesn't seem to be as bothered about getting through, although he's hit the back of Slayer by the looks of things into the penultimate corner. And he is using a little bit of ERS, but not enough really to get himself close. Gymranium on the back of Munram now for 4th, and Firecop is within striking distance of GMAC in the Red Bull. Firecop having a really good race so far. We've seen him overtake a few cars, and still we can just see on the standings how close that gap is between Beerus and the Slayer. Firecop's not going to get this done just yet. on GMAC. And Beerus pulling out to the outside and going for the switchback on Slayer. And has he got the move done? They're going side by side. And Ryan van Doom has retired from this race. And we have another virtual safety car as the Slayer once again holds off Beerus. And now some of the cars up at the front are going to make their pit stop now. Mumram, Firecop, Landobot. And that's perfect timing for them. Jim Rainium and GMAC have carried on, and wow, you saw there Ryan's car. Looks like he lost it after turn 2 and just hit the wall. And that really now seals the fate of the constructors' standings, because given where the Williams drivers are and the fact that Beerus is now on his own again in the Racing Point, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do enough from here to turn that round. And even if both Williams failed to finish from here, if Beerus was only to move up to 7th place, it would not be enough. He would need to be in the top 5 at the very least. It might even be a top 4 or even a podium. But we are back to green once again, and still Beerus up behind Slayer, just biding his time and managing the situation. GMAC pits, Jim Rainium also into the pit lane from the front, and here goes Beerus round the outside once again, but late braking from the Slayer. Beerus holds it around the outside and moves up into 7th place. But he is now 5 seconds behind Mumram in the McLaren. Jim Rainium is just in front of Beerus as well after his pit stop. GMAC re-emerges in 4th on soft tyres. And Landobot has lost time to Harvey and Firecop. After all the pit stops, don't know exactly how that's happened. Maybe the VSCs had a part to play in that, but Harvey now leads this race by 5.5 seconds. And for Lando, well, he was leading the race from the start of lap 2, and all of a sudden he's dropped to 6 seconds down on the leader. And Firecop continuing his great race. Where did Firecop start, actually? If we can just have a look at that. Wow, Firecop has made up 11 places in this race, and Harvey's made up 10. So it's been a great race from those two. Really impressive from Firecop. A relative newcomer to the league, unless he's just changed his name and was already a driver. But if he wants to hold on to this P2, he's going to have to keep pushing and defend possibly from Landobot. Scientist sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:22.9, but he's down in 11th and a long way behind D Bizzle. And then Ballux trumps him, the man behind him. Clear air that those two are in, helping them out, as well as fresh soft tyres. And further back we see Mumram and Jim Rainium fighting over 5th, and in the background is Beerus in the Racing Point. Jim Rainium will want to overtake Mumram as quickly as possible and then pull away, while Mumram potentially holds up Beerus. Though it actually looks now like Beerus is catching up to the back of the Ferrari quicker than Jim Rainium is catching the McLaren. And Ballux has retired from the race, so he must have been pushing hard. That's after the fast left-right chicane. Yellow flag, there's no one near him really on the track, so we might be able to keep going without any need for a safety car or virtual safety car. But I would imagine that that is a crash where we get on the curb on the outside, and we might even see him with Harvey here. Yeah, there he is on the right hand side. If you get too much on that outside curb on the exit of the chicane, then it's very easy to lose control of the back of the car and crash into the wall, which I think is what Ballux has done. But here is Jim Rainium, really close behind Mumram, who's picked up a penalty as well. And here's the chance for Jim Rainium to take 5th place. Will he dive it down the inside? No, he decides against it. Mumram goes wide on the exit, and that was all the invitation that Jim Rainium needed to move up a place. Beerus with the RPM glitch there, so it's just sounds like he's maxing out on his RPMs the whole time, which is not great to listen to. And he's gone for it down the inside of Mumram into turn 3. So that's Beerus up into 6th. And you'd imagine that he will very quickly be on to the gearbox of that Ferrari of Jim Rainium up in front of him. Lap 12 out of 15. Closing stages of this championship. Lando Bot picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's probably going to secure 2nd for Fireclop if he can keep it clean for the final laps. And as I say that, he then picks up a 3-second penalty, so that's cancelled out any advantage he would have had, and that battle continues. But it is difficult to overtake around here, and I think that is what Lando is finding. Even with DRS on the pit straight and on the exit of turn 2 as well, he hasn't been able to get close enough yet. He is closer now, but this straight just isn't long enough. As we see there, you just can't get alongside another car unless you have great overspeed. Maybe we'll see it something a bit more aggressive here from Beerus, although again he's not using all of his ERS. And then he gives Jim Rainium a bit of a push through the corner, a bit of encouragement. Scientist in the pits, and he's had a penalty. Yellow flag in sector 2. Who is that? Oh, it's Lando, and he's got some wing damage, so he's pushing too hard, or I don't know if there was contact between him and Firecop, but that's throwing away the chance of a good result, I think, for Lando, which is a shame. He was having a good race up to that point, and he's either going to pit now or carry on with that wing damage and be quite slow for the rest of the race. And he is going to come in, possibly to retire, but certainly at least for a pit stop. I think the 5-second penalty for speeding, it's usually a sign that someone's going to retire in the pits, and there you are, Lando Bot out of the race. Shame, not a good way to finish off the season for him, but it is what it is for the Alpha driver. Beerus there running extremely wide. Gymranium getting a bit defensive when Beerus wasn't really close enough, and that's compromised his exit. And will give Beerus a chance to get right up onto the gearbox of the Ferrari, and with the DRS enabled here, this should be 5th place or 4th place actually now, isn't it, with Lando being out of the race. So there it is for Beerus, P4. But with the Williams boys in 7th and 10th, it's not going to be enough for the Constructors' Championship, as we are on the final lap of the Australian Grand Prix, the final lap of the season, and we will ride it on board with Royal Harvey. He was involved in a tight championship battle with Beerus for most of the season. It fell away for him though in the Russian and US Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, when he finished, well, he failed to finish in either of those races, and Beerus won both of them. And since then it's really been Beerus's title. But a good job from Harvey tonight. He was 2nd in Vietnam. He's going to win here in Australia without any time penalties as well, and it's going to be a good ending to his season, an impressive season. Harvey out of the final corner, round 22 of the Darwin League in the Scientist Reverse Grid Racing League, and Harvey wins the race, crashes over the line. Fire Cop with an impressive P2 finish for him, and GMAC is going to finish on the podium, at least on track. I don't know how many penalties he has. Beerus will cross the line in 4th, and that's where he stays. Gymranium in 5th, everyone dodging Harvey's car. Slayer in 6th, Mumram in 7th, and it's going to be Aces next. D-Bizzle in 9th, and Scientist in 10th. 6th and 10th for the Williams team, which secures them the Constructors' Championship ahead of Racing Point, with Haas in 3rd. Renault will finish in 4th, and I believe Mercedes will be 5th, despite not having any drivers in the 2 races tonight. And there you have it. Royal Harvey, driver of the day. He'll get an extra point for that, along with the 25 for the victory. And there we have our final podium of the season: Harvey, Firecop and GMAC. And the champagne will flow for the final time. So here we have the final race results of the season. Harvey wins, Firecop in 2nd, GMAC 3rd, Beerus the champion in 4th, Gymranium in 5th, the Slayer in 6th, Mumram 7th, Aces in 8th place with no penalties, D-Bizzle in 9th also with no penalties, Scientist in 10th, and then you have Lando, Ballux, Ryan and Infamous all DNF'd from the final race of the season. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed this stream, and I hope to see you all very soon. Have a great evening and a great weekend. Bye for now.